Thank you for tuning in to the Urban Conservative. This is your host, Raheem Architect Soto. Take a moment to hit the like, the follow, subscribe, share this. We really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. On this episode, we're gonna have some very special guests with us. I look forward to this interview. I've been anticipating this interview because I love what these people are doing, and I think more of it needs to be done, especially with the demographic of people they're working with. Again, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, share this content. It's very important that, as much as we share negativity, that we also share the positive things that people are doing. I can't say that enough. So on the phone with me today, I have the team from Operation Decisive Victory on the phone. And how are you people doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. We're doing great.
Okay, so for the people, please introduce yourselves so they know who I'm talking to.
Okay, I am Dona Parameswar.
And I'm Tintu Parameswar.
And we are the founders of Operation Decisive Victory.
Okay, so this organization, Operation Decisive Victory, doing my reading, through what you guys provide, just let us know a little bit of how this organization, let us know a lot about how this organization was started initially and what was the need initially, because I know it was a personal thing for you guys to start this. So please let the people know how this organization was started.
Sure. So we have been dealing with some legal battles of our own the past year and a half. From the community that we are currently living in, we've had some discrimination issues. I don't want to get into too much of the details at this time, but from that, we reached out to all the different veteran organizations out there because we were not the kind of people that even knew that there were veteran organizations that support veteran causes, veteran needs. So we started researching, we started talking to people, and any and every organization we thought of or we came across, we called them for help. And we quickly realized that our family, because we are striving to integrate back into society, because my husband takes his medications, because he goes to all his appointments, we didn't really fit the criteria for most of these organizations to help us. So at the end of the day, we decided that we do not want another family to go through the same pain we are experiencing. And we wanted them, any family, whatever their struggles, we wanted them to know that there are people out there that truly love them, truly want them to succeed, and will hold their hands through whatever issues or whatever problems, struggles, even if it is paying a mortgage bill or, mental health help or whatever it is that they need or their family needs. We wanted to be able to be that support system and bridge that gap for all the other organizations.
So am I correct in saying that Tintu, you've served 3 tours? Is that correct?
Three combat tours, 13 deployments.
And is that a normal amount of work in the military?
Tours, yes. Deployments, not really for such a short career like mine, unless you're in that specific, career field. I work more in the intelligence community, working with the civilian side of intelligence as well. So for us, deployments were a lot more rapid than it would be for conventional units would be.
So inside of the veterans, and I'm not sure about the way to properly word this, but within the veteran community, the disabled veteran community, is there currently discriminatory practices at getting access to service? And the reason I ask this is because this is not a conversation that is, very public. You don't see this on CNN. You don't see this, you don't read about these things.
Absolutely. And that was one of our realizations. There's definitely a lot of discrimination that occurs. And that there are many organizations, thousands of organizations within the United States that say they're here to serve veterans. However, you have to meet every one of their criteria. If I'm an Iraq-Afghanistan veteran, I can't walk into, let's say, the Korean War Veterans Service Organization and say, hey guys, I'm having some trouble. Can you help me find some resource? because the likeliness of them accepting you is very, very slim. They'll say, hey, since you're not a member of that organization, or since you did not participate in that specific battle or war, you don't qualify. So same thing with all these organizations like the American Legion, Veteran of Foreign Wars. If you're not a member in those organizations, or if you don't meet the criteria that they expect you to have, they are not going to. And you will find some that will be willing to give you the extra assistance, but it is not required, or it's not something that can be expected. You can walk into any door and say, listen, I'm a veteran, or my family's a veteran family. We're struggling. We need some help. We need some guidance. And that practice of discrimination is there. But I will say, I truly believe that sense of discrimination comes from the military in itself, because, again, the military is the only organization that in the United States that is legally allowed to discriminate on pretty much anything.
Wow. And I know a lot of our listeners, that's going to be the first time that they've ever heard that, because it's almost counterintuitive to hear that, our military is allowed to practice discrimination. I'm trying to wrap my brain around that when you said it. Like, okay, I've never heard that, those series of words string together. Because you've had breakthroughs in the military as far as race is concerned, and, women in the military is concerned, you would think that, the last thing a veteran would need coming home after serving his or her, her country is help. You wouldn't think there would be so much, bureaucracy and tape to get through to get the assistance you need.
Absolutely.
It's so. My next question is quite simple. What is it the average citizen can do to support not only your organization, well, specifically your organization, but veterans in general in their neighborhood? Because I work with a few people that work at VA centers, and they're always complaining about the conditions in the medical hospitals. So what is it the average person can do, number one, to support your organization, but number two, in their local community, support disabled veterans and veterans in general?
In the case of Operation Decisive Victory, what people can truly do are really two different things. One is support us financially, so we're able to provide the services to these veterans in a timely manner. And when we say services, it's anything a veteran needs. As a private entity, we're able to do without the red tape we were just talking about that, the Veterans Administration or any other government-run organization has. The other part is get those veterans in touch with us, talk about us, do your research, understand what we do for the veteran community, and get those veterans to us. A lot of times veterans turn away from resources because they're tired, they're overburdened, they're confused, and they're lost in the chaotic system that exists right now to get help. So those are the two big things that people can do for us as Operation Decisive Victory in helping veterans. And the other part that they can do within their community is understand what veteran needs are. Most people think veterans they just need psychological help. They need a job. They need a house. No, there's a lot more veterans that need a lot more services than just that. And I think that as a community, when we work together and push the efforts of what do we truly need to provide these members, of our society to be prosperous again, we can truly make a difference in what their lives turn out to be. A lot of times we come back home and we're expected to reintegrate, and we walk back into a society that no longer understands us, and in a society that we no longer understand. So taking the time to understand veteran needs in your communities, understanding who the veterans are, I think would be the biggest change that people can do in a community.
I would like to add to that really quick. In our own community, knowing that we are a veteran family, we have neighbors that send their children over to help us with yard work. We have neighbors that will come and take our kids away, their nails done, or to take them to their homes to watch them break, just to help the kids transition, help the kids have a better quality of life. Just because the stress of living with a veteran or stress of going through the conditions that we go through on a daily basis, only we understand. But there are people out there that make that extra take that extra step to make a difference. And that would be one of my honest requests is if you have a veteran or family in your neighborhood or in your community or in your church or at your workplace, go that extra mile to understand what their needs are. That will be a form of raising awareness and in yourselves, amongst your community. That is one extra step that a family can do for another veteran family.
Wow, that's amazing. One of the terms that I just came into knowing was, we've all heard PTSD. We've heard that lots and lots of times. But one of the terms that I just was introduced to is something called hypervigilance. Can you guys explain a little bit about what hypervigilance is? Because when I looked into it, what I noticed was that it's very easy to not understand that. You can take someone who's hypervigilant and totally misunderstand what that actually is.
Absolutely. And the personal issue that we went through had a lot of these symptoms tied into it. It was dragged out through the court systems, where, again, we have a system that doesn't understand these conditions at all. So it's easy for someone to change the narrative of a person's condition and make those conditions sound much more horrible, much more terrifying than what it truly is. One of the things I try to tell people when we have a general conversation about PTSD is, PTSD is more dangerous to the individual than he is to others. Because it's a struggle within. It's not something that, we try and take out on others, or, it's not a condition that makes us violent towards other people. It's a condition that is internal. It's a fight within with our own demons. And as far as hypervigilance is concerned, when it comes to hypervigilance, like you said, it's one of those conditions that are really not understood or actually taken into consideration, because everybody has a form of vigilance.
Absolutely.
In our case, where we have certain traumas or experience certain traumas that cause us to be hypervigilant, it truly is an exaggeration. For me, when my kids drop a toy on the ground and it sounds like either a gunshot or a mortar round or something, to either drop to the ground or get into the crouch position, get in a cover position, exaggerated response to what my wife would when something drops and she just jumps. It's the same situation, but it's exaggerated for someone with hypervigilance. Same thing with sound. Sounds, it causes us to be, triggered in a sense. I guess that's the common word now. It causes us to be triggered to have a reaction that something a normal person wouldn't do. We do it constantly all the time. If we hear a sound that, bothers us, or if we see a flash of light that surprised us, we act surprised. However, the person with that trauma experience, his reaction or her reaction to it is going to be on a completely exaggerated level. And it's not their fault. It's that reaction is reminding them of something traumatic as well. And in my case, one of the things I tried to explain to the court system when they used hypervigilance against me as a conditional factor or a dangerous factor of my personality, is that, hypervigilance kept me alive in the war zone. It's hard to turn that off when you needed it to stay alive. And that was critical that you had that to survive combat. You come home, and that transition from combat to home is a matter of hours, not months, not years. It's not slow. It's not smooth. It just happens in a matter of hours. It becomes difficult for that element of our survival to be turned off.
Right. Well, you gave me a really good understanding of it. And as I read up on the term, it led me to think that, and like you said, we're all vigilant. If you live in a particular neighborhood, let's say in a high crime neighborhood, you may not realize how hyper vigilant you are, that you hear a creak in the hallway and so I'm glad you hit on the transition from military life coming back into civilian life and it being in a matter of hours. What does the shock of that, how can veterans, getting this out to them, how can some of them use, what tools can they use to kind of make that transition in you guys' opinion? And how can the family support them? What would be some of the tools, that a military wife or military family could use to make that change from, military life back into civilian life a lot easier for their loved one?
I'll be honest. It's a blessing and a curse. The military life is a blessing and a curse, because we go in with the intent of serving the country. We know we're not going to get rich. We're not going to get fancy. We're not going to be driving luxury cars when we come out of the military. We understand all that as we go in. But the American government does take care of its warriors, especially the active duty ones, at a very, very decent level, I would have to say, and what happens is we get very comfortable with that lifestyle. We get comfortable with being in the military. We get comfortable with that steady paycheck that comes in. We get comfortable without needing any progress. You don't need to continue education. You don't need to, grow personally, individually, or career-wise. Everything is set in place for you. As you achieve a next rank, you're required to go to this course, and that prepares you for all the responsibilities of that rank that you're going to hold. To go to this class, now the billet or rank that you are at that point. And what happens is we come back out from the military for one reason or the other. Either whether it's you do 2 years, you get injured and you have to leave, or you do 20 years of service and you retire. There is an end date to our service in the military. What I try to encourage our active duty families is that prepare for that day in advance, much in advance. Don't ever forget that you left the civilian world to join the military and you have to return. Quite too often, because of the comfort or complacency, I like to say, we forget that we have to return to this side of the world at some point. And we forget to prepare. That's the biggest thing. And I try to tell guys, if you're planning to get out, or if you even feel like you want to leave the military at a certain point, start a year, 2 years in advance. Make sure you're starting to go to school. Make sure you start transitioning that lifestyle over. Make sure your wife is still engaged, your spouse is still engaged in the civilian work world. So that way, at least one of you can assimilate quicker than the other can. And that's truly, I think, the hardest part about the transition is we're so comfortable where we are, and one fine day that all ends, and we're expected to catch up on our own here in the civilian world. Whereas in the military environment, everything is, and I tell people all the time, the military is the easiest job in the world I've ever held or I've ever experienced, because you're told where to be, what to wear, when to eat, what you're going to eat, what you're there for, what you're going to do. All you have to do is just show up and do it. But then you come back to the civilian world where you're on your own. Good luck, buddy. Finding a job is on your own. Getting promoted is on your own. Feeding your family is on your own. Check. If you don't show up for work, you're not getting a check. Those are the kind of things that we forget in the comfort of, or the safety net of government service. So
it sounds like you're saying that preparation on the part of the family, on the spouse, is probably paramount when brothers and sisters are transitioning from that military service into civilian life. Let the people know, because we're going to be doing a fundraiser for you guys in June. We're going to be doing something special out in North Carolina. I want people to know where they can find you. I want people to know where they can donate to. Let them know as much information about how to get in touch with you, and how to support your organization. And you guys are based in North Carolina, correct?
Yes, sir. We are a nonprofit based out of North Carolina. We do have our 501c3. Our website is www.operationdv.com for Operation Decisive Victory. There is a donate page on there. They can. There is also a contact page. So all our information is on there. So if anybody listening has, questions on what we do, who we are, they can just call us up. We'll be more than happy to answer. We'll be more than happy to help any way. It is a free service to all our veteran families of all eras. We're not focused on any specific group of people. We're not focused on any specific disability or struggles. We in the last 3 months, we have helped 3 different individuals, get their VA paperwork submitted. We have helped a paralyzed veteran family in New Jersey with home roof repairs and painting of their room. We have helped 2 families pay their utility bills. So what we can do is limitless. And we don't put any sort of restrictions on how we can help our veteran. At the end of the day, our goal is to be a support system. Our goal is to work with other organizations and just build that bridge. So if there is something that we cannot do, we would, tell this family or this individual about another organization that would do it better. So our job is to just hold their hands and walk through their struggle so they achieve their decisive victory in whatever it is that they're going through.
Wonderful. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to be with us. We're going to definitely do this again. I would like to have you guys back on again and, work more, closely with helping you guys raise funds and raise awareness for your organization. I thank you for your service, sir. We all do. We appreciate it. And to all of the veterans, we appreciate your service. We respect you. We honor you, and we're here to help. So I want to thank you guys again for coming on. And before we go, is there any last, bits of anything you want to give to the people, any information, anything you want to say? It's open to you. Anybody you want to thank, or, as they say, shout out, because you answered my question. I was going to say, what are some of the things you guys have recently done? And then you gave it to us already. So is there anything in closing, like I said, that you want to, put out there to the people? Anything you got left to say?
I would like to throw out our tagline: small victories win big wars. And we all have our daily struggles. We all think that at the end of the day, that is it. We can't survive it. It's just too much to handle. But those are the small victories. You just keep looking at the positive, keep looking at look for the small victories in your daily struggles. And you'll see that at the end of the day, at the end of the year or week or whatever, those little victories are the battle winners. We get to overcome so much if we just focus on the positive and stay true to ourselves and the people around us by being positive and spreading that love. And that's what we're here for. That's what our team is committed to do. And just check out our website and we have a Facebook page as well. So check us out and just reach out as needed.
What is that Facebook page?
At Operation DV.
At Operation DV. And the website one more time?
www.operationdv.com.
That is for those that did not hear that one more time. www.operation D as in David, V as in victory.com. So I've been on the phone with Tintu and Dona Parameswar of Operation Decisive Victory. I want to thank you guys for coming on. This has been the Urban Conservative Podcast on cornerstoneunlimited.org. Please like, follow, subscribe, and again, share this video. Do not share it one time. Do not share it twice. Share it every day for the next 30 days. Tag people in the post because, as I said in the intro, we need to put more positivity out into the world, and we need to support the people that support this great nation of ours.